Good evening and welcome, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Wicker, and I'm a proud member of KQED's Community Advisory Panel. We are a group of volunteer community members that supports KQED in community building in the 9 Bay Area counties that KQED serves. KQED is Northern California's go-to PBS and PR member station. Our mission is to inform, inspire, and involve our live events program aims to bring our amazing journalism to the stage. You can see our full lineup of performances, food tastings, trivia nights, and more at kqed.org/live. Raise your hand if you're already a KQED member. Oh my gosh, awesome, thank you. For those who haven't yet joined, we'd love for you to become a member. Supporting KQED means supporting local journalism that truly matters. Plus, when you join, you'll get access to some pretty sweet benefits. Look at this list. Backstage tours, discounted tickets, a pledge-free KQED FM stream, just to name a few. And now we have an added benefit. Donate $150 a year, and you get a KQED artisanal chocolate bar. It's made by Melina from the Chocolate Bar, an East Bay chocolate company who's been featured on our stages. With notes of ginger and coffee, it reflects the global nature of the Bay. Scan this QR code to sign up. This code will also be on display in the lobby on your way out after the event. Stop by, have a look at our amazing schedule, and join us. We'd like to thank the season sponsors who make KQED Live possible: San Francisco Symphony, Comcast Business, and Genentech. We're so grateful for their commitment to supporting our mission of civic and cultural engagement in the Bay Area. We also want to thank tonight's partners, Chile Lindo, El Porteño, and Harina Baked Goods. So, without further ado, let's dive into the delicious world of empanadas. With Chile Lindo, El Porteño, and Harina Baked Goods, please help me in welcoming our wonderful hosts who will guide us on this journey. Josh DeKalongan, KQED's food audience engagement producer and host of the digital series No Crumbs, and Blanca Torres, writer of KQED's Latinx newsletter, KQED Que Onda, and producer for Forum. Josh and Blanca.
Good evening. Are we ready? So I'm Blanca Torres. I am a producer for Forum, and I also edit and created Que Onda, our monthly newsletter for the Latinx community here in the Bay Area. I am so excited to be here tonight to talk all things empanadas and really hear the stories of where this food comes from. It's a simple dish and yet takes on so many forms, so we're really going to dive into that.
Absolutely, and hi, I'm Josh DeKalongan. I am the audience engagement and content producer for KQED Food. I also work on a show called Check Please and have my own online food series called No Crumbs, so check that out. I am also the editor of our bi-weekly food newsletter called The Sauce. We actually had a poll in our last newsletter, and apparently only 23% of those who voted liked raisins in their empanadas. Wait, you are the correct 23%, by the way. Just kidding. But however, I am releasing the next issue tomorrow, which I still need to put together after the show. So sign up so you can receive it for another divisive poll. And to stay up to date, of course, on Bay Area food and our food scene.
So this is our third Showdown event of the year. The first one was Salsa Showdown, where we featured different salsa makers from the Bay Area and live salsa music. Our second one was the Burrito Showdown, where we featured 3 iconic chefs from the Mission, and then we asked them to make a Haight-Ashbury style burrito. It was fun. But tonight, we're all about the empanadas. So I'll be sitting down with our 3 chefs to hear more about their stories and their businesses. Afterwards, Josh is going to lead us through a demonstration so we can see how empanadas are made and what goes into them. So, and then we have a fun segment planned involving the audience. So get ready for that. But first, we have a video to show you to introduce our guests for tonight.
My name is Joseph Ahern, and I own El Porteño Empanadas. Food doesn't have to be complicated to be meaningful. Just because something is traditional and simple doesn't mean that it's not delicious. We have 4 different steps of the assembly. We make our filling, we make the dough. With the dough, we make the tapitas, which are the little round circles. And then this is the assembly. This is where we put them all together and make the empanada. All of our empanada flavors and everything we do, it's something that we kind of feel that we would find in Buenos Aires, with processes and ingredients that we would find in our mom's kitchen or our grandmother's kitchen. Here at the Ferry Building, we're pretty busy, so we really have to scale that. You can't just make 10 or 12 at a time. I think where we're really being creative is the process of how to keep up with such a volume, but still maintain that quality. Food is, like I said, it's more, it's obviously, it's about celebrating, it's about, as I said, sustenance, but it's also about way of life. Like, everybody in my family has worked in the restaurants in one capacity or the other, so it's just something that's always been there for us. Do what you love, and I think don't chase trends, and if it's something you enjoy and it's good, then just go after it with everything.
I'm Paula Tejeda, and I own Chile Lindo. Food is always the most direct cultural expression of any people. If I'm going to represent Chile, I have to stay true to the recipes and the traditions. And I've studied them because I didn't study to be a baker, so it's taken many years for me to build all these recipes. We're going to put raisins, a slice of hard-boiled egg, and an olive. We fold the traditional Chilean empanada, which at Chile Lindo is called the classic pino. Your egg wash gives it that golden, beautiful golden color. When you actually put it in the oven, the steam goes through the holes and it doesn't blow up the empanada. The Chile Lindo empanada has to serve as an ambassador to Chile in the San Francisco Bay Area. You have to believe that what you're contributing to your community and to the people that love what you're doing and to your staff is significant.
My name is Grace, and the name of our business is Harina Baked Goods. Food is my love language, and my biggest inspiration for that would be my family. My husband is the chief baker, the head baker. Everything about dough and bread, he makes all of that. And I'm more like the fillings. So first step is to brown the ground beef, the onions, which I sauteed earlier, garlic powder, paprika, salt and pepper. After that, I add my pimiento pepper, green peas. After this cools down, we add the grated pepper jack. And Alex do everything from operations in the kitchen to our social media. She's also our photographer. She's been a big help for us. When we started this business, just the 2 of us. And then she decided that she wanted to join and help us out in the business. You don't really have to have a background because everybody cooks. Everybody eats food. So if that's your love language, you can start from there and just love what you're doing. And it wouldn't feel like, working.
And now I have the pleasure of welcoming our guest for the evening. So, welcome. Thank you all for being here. So, I will introduce our guests for tonight. We have Grace Lontok. She's the owner of Harinas, a Livermore-based Filipino panaderia specializing in small batch pastries and bread. Grace and her husband started their bakery after the pandemic. Next to her is Joseph Ahern. He is the owner of El Porteño Empanadas, which makes Argentine-style empanadas using his mother's recipes. He started the business in 2008, selling at farmers markets, out of food trucks, and now has 2 locations in the San Francisco Ferry Building and in the Napa Valley wine country. And then on the end, we have Paula Tejeda. She's also known as the girl from Empanada. She's the owner of Chile Lindo, a business that has been in San Francisco for several decades. She is a native New Yorker of Chilean ancestry who spent her childhood going back and forth between the United States and Chile. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we had some really great footage of empanadas, but I wanted us to start off just kind of talking about what is an empanada. The word in Spanish basically means something covered in bread, right? But so Joseph, tell us, what makes an empanada an empanada? What are the defining features?
Well, for me, empanadas, my mom is from Argentina, and when we were kids, we would always, any special occasion, she would make empanadas. And it's not an easy process. It takes a couple days. So, and when she would make it, and she would never let us taste any of the fillings, taste it before, whatever the occasion was. And so just that anticipation was just torture. So, it was sort of that the waiting for it, and then the whatever that occasion was, and having the empanadas. So I just really, really associate it with that.
The big reward.
Yeah. So.
And Paula, you've said that the empanada is the dish of Chile. Why are they so loved in your home country?
Chileans made the empanada their national food. You celebrate the Chilean independence with wine and empanadas. And Chileans celebrate their independence for the entire month of September. I always say you would have thought they won the independence last year because they celebrate all month. And empanadas, they make ramadas, which rama means like a branch. And ramadas are set out throughout the country, and it's spring. Remember, September, it's spring in Chile, so you welcome the spring. It's the independence, and under the ramadas, empanadas and wine, because Chileans make wine. And we also tend to have empanadas on Sunday. Families go to church, or they don't want to cook, and they take empanadas home, and they're so easy. You just warm them up, and that's it. You have lunch or dinner.
Wow. And Grace, tell us more about the Filipino version. And did you grow up with them?
No, actually, when I was growing up back home in the Philippines, empanada is not something very common that you would eat regularly. It's more like a special treat. Although there are a lot of local neighborhood bakeries, it's not something that you can it's not accessible. It's not something that you can just get at any other bakeries. So, but because it's such a special treat, we get it from like a store that actually sells only empanadas. And as I grew up, I love empanada more because of the portability of the food. It's something that you can just grab and go, very easy to eat, and it's also a favorite food of my mom. So it's something that we shared in common with my mom.
And they were savory empanadas?
There's both savory and sweet. Filipino empanadas tend to be a little bit sweeter more on the dough than the filling, and it's typically fried. Typically fried empanadas, savory filling. You would have some sweet fillings as well.
Great. Well, let's talk about the business of empanadas. So, Paula, you are the third owner of Chile Lindo, is that correct?
Yes, and the more I research this, by the way, Chile Lindo just became a San Francisco legacy business. Thank you. And the more I research, now I end up finding out there's actually another owner of Chile Lindo that came even before. La Señora Liberona was the first. She was Chilean. She had a little cafe in the Redstone building right there on 16th and Cap. She must have had it like 17 years, and then she sold it to Angelica Oviedo, which was another Chilean. And she had it around approximately 8-9 years. And then in 1995, I'd actually just arrived from New York City, and I was running around with my own entrepreneurial spirit with a basket of sandwiches, believe it or not. And then we got a phone call that said, Chile Lindo's up for sale. Angelica is giving it up. And since you're doing this food business, why don't you buy Chile Lindo? I didn't have a dime. And I had no idea how I was going to buy this business. But I said, let me go talk to Angelica and find out what she's doing. And they go, a Cuban is going to get it if you don't buy it. And I was like, oh, my God, I got to save Chile Lindo on the corner of 16th and Cap. And sure enough, I go talk to Angelica. I literally walk in one evening, and I tell her, they tell me you want to sell the business. Yeah, she says, but here, the Chileans don't come to 16th and Cap, and you have to sell pupusas. And this is how you make pupusas. I mean, I hadn't even said yet that I was going to buy the business. And she was teaching me how to make pupusas. And I'm like, but I don't have a dime. How am I going to pay for this? She wanted like $15,000, and then we negotiated. But there's a program called ALAS, which was part of Women's Initiative for Self-Employment. And it was the Spanish branch of Women's Initiative for Self-Employment. And I said, I would have to take a course there, and I would have to qualify for a loan, and all this is if, and then I can pay you for that amount after I take these classes. And she's like, great, here, I know the program, here are the keys, bye. And that was my first day with Chile Lindo, and it's been sink or swim for 30 years.
And okay, so Joseph, tell us about how you started El Porteño, and where did that name come from?
Well, the name El Porteño is it's slang for anybody from a port city, and specifically, it's somebody from Buenos Aires. And with my mom being from Buenos Aires, we wanted to sort of have the name reflect that. And also, San Francisco being a port city, we thought it fit. It's really nice. But my wife Teresa and I are been in restaurants our whole life. She's more at the front of the house, and I'm in the kitchen. And for a while there, we got out of the kitchen. We wanted to make a little money, and we sort of went into. Teresa went into more finances, I went into manufacturing, and we did that for a few years. Then we had kids, and we decided we kind of wanted to take a little bit more control, back of our lives, and we wanted to spend more time with the kids, and also do something we really love, which was restaurants and food. And we kind of thought, well, what would we do? She being from Ireland, and then with my family background in Argentina, we thought, well, maybe we will we'll do a restaurant. It's got to be a restaurant, but maybe it'll be an Argentine restaurant, maybe it'll be an Irish restaurant, maybe it'll be an Irish and an Argentine restaurant. Who knows? We had this sort of real, lovely romantic idea that I would be in the kitchen. We'd be, giving each other glances, romantic glances. She'd be out in the front. We'd have soccer on the screen. But we decided at that time. Funny enough, I was doing an internship at Bayvac, which was just in the old KQED building. And at that time, with the guys there, we would go out up the street here at the Patron 16th and play soccer. And then afterwards, we would go get these wonderful empanadas, which was Chile Lindo. I remembered that, and there weren't very, and in fact, I don't remember any Argentine empanadas in the time. And my wife and I had just got back from Argentina. Food is what we know. We really loved the empanadas. And so we thought that would be a good place to start, maybe at farmers markets. We thought that would be, a low cost of entry, a good way to test it out. And we started one in the peninsula, and it went really, really well. It did very good. We opened up another one, and then it got really almost overwhelming. So we, as good parents, in 2008, at the height of the bank, financial collapse, we decided to give up our jobs and start an empanada business. And so after that, we started it. That was around, that was in 2008. And so at the same time, the Twitter street food movement, which is,
Right.
We
were part of the street food movement
Yeah,
together, which was before the food trucks.
Yeah, it was, carts on the streets and, setting up a tent. And so we caught that wave, and we did a lot of the San Francisco Street Food Festivals, the Eat Real Festival. There was Off the Grid. And then we got into the Ferry Building. We got a really small place in the Ferry Building, and then kind of moved into another sort of bigger but place outside, and then where we're at now, which is sort of I guess our first brick and mortar place in the center there. And then since we started wholesaling empanadas around the Bay Area as well. So, and I guess that's a story.
Yeah. Great. And Grace, so tell us about how you got started. You and your business, you do a lot of sweet baked goods. So how did you bring in the empanadas?
It's a combination of sweet and savory. So when we started the business in 2020, during the height of the pandemic, my husband got laid off from work. He has so much free time, so he started baking. And we started, in the beginning, he was just baking to share it with family and friends. And then we were giving it to my sister, my neighbors and friends, until one day my sister said, can I start taking orders? And we were like, okay. But then we realized that there is actually a potential there, and we needed that extra income because my husband didn't have work at that time. And through word of mouth, we had more customers. By the end of that year, during the holidays, we had so much orders. We were operating from our small kitchen at home. Everything from the living room, except the bedrooms, had we were doing ensaimadas and cheese rolls in the beginning. And then cheese rolls is also some kind of I wouldn't say empanada, but it's a sweet pastry. Mm. And my husband was actually experimenting, and he loved the result of the puff pastry. So we thought we should do something like a savory filling. So let's do empanadas. And I personally like empanadas. So I started experimenting with fillings. We started with the chicken empanada, which is one of our best sellers at our farmers market. And then that's when we started creating other fillings. That is, we wanted to be our version of empanadas, but still staying kind of true to our Filipino flavors. So it still has that Filipino originality to it, but our own version of the empanadas.
Wow.
And we do sell all of our products at the farmers market. We do pop-ups. We don't have a brick and mortar like the two of them, but our products are being sold at farmers market. We do pop-ups around the Bay Area. We also offer our products at stores there's a store in Pleasanton. It's called Jean's Fine Foods. Also at Berkeley Bowl, we do specials, holiday specials at both their brunches.
Wow, good for you.
So how many total varieties of empanadas do you make?
Right now we're making only 3 varieties. We have the chicken and mushroom, we have the beef, and the veggie empanadas. And we also come up with seasonal items, like we'll do like peach and mangoes, or we've done pecan pie empanadas during the
Well,
Thanksgiving season.
I love sweet empanadas because my family is from Mexico, and to me, an empanada was like had pumpkin or pineapple. Yes, and the savory was actually new to me when I, started trying other foods. So, Joseph, what are some of the popular varieties at El Porteño?
I would say we have our I'd say the 4 or 5 most popular. We have our beef, of course, is very traditional, the most popular. We have a chicken as well. We have a ham and cheese, which we use prosciutto and fontina, and our mushroom one, which we use local mushrooms. We have, and there's Parmesan cheese and shallots.